So tonight we're going to hear from so many people in the top of our company, VIP. And I'm just super excited for this because sometimes in our business, no matter where you are, if you just started or if you have been in the business for a while, like we go through seasons and we go through hard times. And this does not have to be a season of struggle. It doesn't have to be a season of, like, oh, I don't think this is for me, or, oh, I'm not having that success. Like we can literally do whatever we want in this business. And we've all been through life. All four of us, or all five of us that are going to be speaking tonight, have been through life. And just wanted to let you guys hear some perspective from people that maybe you've never heard of or heard from before, and just hear their stories. Everyone on here tonight has such a powerful story. I'm so excited for you guys. So I'm just going to jump right in. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat box. We'll get to them. If you resonate with something, if you're inspired by something, share that. Like, we feed off of your energy. If you are like touched, or you're like, oh, that's an aha moment for me, share it. We want to know. And so I am just going to let everyone introduce themselves. But first up, we have Karina. Karina is a presidential diamond. She has been through a lot, you guys, just so much life. I'm going to let her just completely dive into it and take it away. Let's see. There we go. You're muted. Cool.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, hey, you guys, I am pumped to be sharing my story. I'm actually going to be telling you guys some things that I haven't really ever talked about, and I'm pregnant. So first off, I want to say if I cry, I'm sorry, and if maybe hide your kids, because sometimes I swear I'm trying to quit, but sometimes it happens. So hide your kids. So I'm going to do my short version, tell you a short version of my story. I started this 4 years ago, started with It Works. And when I started, I was that person who had never heard of self-development. Like, I was not that person who ever believed in myself or thought that I could ever be something. You know, I always wanted to be my own boss, but I never thought that was possible. I dropped out of high school and I left and I moved to a different city. I left everything, my whole family and everybody behind, moved to a different city and just worked different random jobs. I've literally done everything. And I could never find my thing. I could never find what inspired me. And I just quit. I would always quit. I used to be a quitter. And right before I started with It Works, I'd just taken my personal training certificate. So I was super into health and wellness, and some random girl messaged me, got me onto this. Short version, I thought this was a joke. I honestly thought that this was a joke. I didn't think I was going to make any money. But I saw women killing it. Like, I saw these women that were making, you know, the girl who signed me up, Marina, she made a $10,000 bonus, and she did that in my first month. So that inspired the hell out of me. And I just decided to go after it. I learned about this whole personal development thing, and I started really working on myself. And I will thank God every day that I found this business and found personal development, because you're going to hear from my story that it saved my life. So I was the epitome of ignorance on fire. Like, I was single. I had nobody holding me back, nothing holding me back. I don't have kids don't have kids. So I had nothing holding me back. I had this vision. I wanted to travel. I wanted to drive a vehicle that didn't break down all the time. You know, I had all these things that I wanted. Super selfish, but you know what? That's okay, because that's all I had was me and my dog. So I was going after it. I hit diamond in my first 5 months. And right before I hit triple, actually, I got into a relationship with this guy, and he seemed amazing. Okay. He was everything. He was so great. And right before I went triple, he became very abusive. And I all of a sudden you know, I went from being like this person who didn't believe in myself to now I was like so confident because of my self-development. And now all of a sudden I'm in this relationship with this really emotionally and physically abusive person. And it was just out of the blue. It just hit me out of the blue, and I'm trying to go triple, you know, and it's a lot of work to promote. If any of you guys have promoted in here, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to promote. It's a lot of stress at sometimes. And, you know, the fact that I had this guy telling me that I was a piece of shit and that I was such a loser. You know, I used to have my team come over, and I would do these, like, just have my team come over, and we used to talk, and I would give all my tips because I was killing it. Okay. I was killing it at the time. So I was giving all my tips to my team. And after my team would leave, he would tell me that I was such a terrible leader, and that I talked funny, and oh my God, I could just go on. I could go on forever about this, but you guys get the picture. It was really, really bad. And I finally, you know, after I hit triple, and I don't know if I would have ever been able to get out of what happened with him if it hadn't have been for self-development. You know, I was like crying all the time, but I was still like in this zone where I was like, okay, I need to get out of this. So I went triple, and I dumped his ass, and me and my dog and my dirt bike, we left. And, you know, I was still very damaged. Okay. I was making good money now. I was making $10,000 average a month because I hit triple. Go me. It was awesome. And my team was doing amazing. We were on fire. We had this momentum. Like, my volume was way up. Like, I was killing it. It was so great. And then, like 2-3 weeks after I left my ex-boyfriend, I ran over my dog. And it was like the worst thing. And I know you guys, if you don't have a dog, you won't understand. But it was like I lost my child, and it was the worst thing. And, you know, and I'm trying to like bring myself up and over this thing that went on with my ex, and then my dog died, and I was just, and then my team is so like, they're on fire. So my phone is like blowing up, right? And I'm trying to be a good leader, but I started getting these feelings where it was like, how can I be a good leader when I feel this low, when I feel like I'm just nothing? And like, cause I didn't like to admit it, but he got to me, you guys. Like, I felt really crappy, and I was trying to be this rock for everybody else, you know, because I had people going through the same thing. And, you know, people were going through breakups on my team, and, you know, miscarriages, and people were going through stuff on my team. I was trying to be there for them. So anyways, it was really hard. And then, and then like 3 weeks after that, actually, no, it wasn't even. So I'm grieving my dog. Actually, it was a couple days after we got him cremated. And my friends took me out to go drink beer and ride dirt bikes. And I drank too much beer, and I crashed my dirt bike, and I broke my leg. And it was horrible. So 3 months I was bedridden, you know, not being able to walk. And when I was super active before this, so the fact that I couldn't exercise was my therapy. Exercise was like my jam. I needed it to like get through my life. So not being able to do that really got to me. And you guys, and I never shared this with my team. I was like trying to like still hold face and like still be a good leader. But you guys, like, I wasn't enrolling people. I wasn't like, I just wasn't there. I was not there, but I was trying so hard because I didn't want to lose what I had worked so hard to build. But, you know, I became suicidal. I became all these things. Like, I couldn't get out of bed, for one, because my leg was broken. And it was just, I went through a really rough time, like really rough. I lost my triple. I lost my bonus. I was making like $2,000 a month. I went from, you know, 10 to 15,000 to 2,000. No, it was even less than that. I think my check, anyways, it wasn't good. I should have went back and looked, but it was not good. You know, it was not a good feeling. It's just like blow after blow. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? And trust me, there was so many times where I just didn't want to do this anymore. Like, I just wanted to completely quit. And the only thing that kept me going was my team. I have some really amazing women on my team, and I really, I didn't tell them what was going on with me, but it was like just having them there to talk to really helped. And anyways, I watched this Zoom about knowing your why. And I thought, okay, why am I doing this? Like what's happening? And I started, actually, Rachel, I think it was one of your videos that I watched about your comeback. And I was like, okay, if she can do this, then I can do this. And then Mark announced that if you lost rank and got it back, you would get your bonus back or something in October. And you guys, I had like no volume. Like it was bad. I was getting paid as diamond. I had one strong leg and everything else was like not good. So I just like, to be frank, I just picked up my big girl panties, pulled up my big girl panties, and I got my shit together. And I started writing down my goals. I started, envisioning what I wanted in my life. Like I hadn't bought my new truck yet, I wanted a new truck. I hadn't bought my new vehicle yet. I hadn't done any of these things that I started this business for. I worked so hard to get to triple, and then I let everything, well, it's not that I let it go. Life just happened, and it just happened. And so anyways, I got all that written down in front of me, and I just went hard. Like I went hard. I started enrolling people. I started just being present. And I got my triple back that month. Like in 1 month, I got it back. I'm going to try to hurry up. I know we only have 15 minutes, but there's just a couple more things. So anyways, I got it back and I started doing really well again. And, my paychecks are going up. My confidence started going up. I did all the things I wanted to do. I was able to buy my truck. I traveled the world. I went and we did It Works did a leadership international retreat in Spain. So I went and did a solo trip there and like found myself and like did all these things. For 2 years, I did all that stuff. And then I was trying to go presidential and I had a leg that was going double and they all quit. They all left and went to a different company. All of them. And that was so hard. That was so hard too, because now I'm thinking like, holy, you start self-doubting yourself and getting so negative on yourself. And I just started thinking like, wow, like this is happening again. Like I must be incompetent. There must be something wrong with me. I must not know how to lead my team properly if they want to just leave me. I just started thinking all these things, which is so not true. And I just started slacking again. I wasn't enrolling because I felt like if I enrolled people, I didn't know if I could train them properly. And it was just like this vicious cycle. And actually somebody on my team who's amazing, Angela, she is so straight up. And she said to me, she called me out and said, you know what, you used to be the person that I looked up to. And I know that's still in you, but you need to get your shit together again. So, I did. And the common denominator here is I kept forgetting my why. And I started focusing on all the bad stuff happening. And I started comparing myself. Like I saw all these girls who signed up like just this year and they were going presidential. And it was 3 years in for me and I hadn't gone yet. And it was just, I was like, why? What is wrong with me? So I started obsessing over top leaders' videos. And I was like watching their lives and watching their videos and like trying to be them. But obviously, how can you be somebody else when you're you? And I just got caught up in not feeling good enough. Like I just was never feeling good enough. And I'm not going to lie, I go through these times often. Sometimes I still don't feel good enough. And, I was just talking to another leader about this. It's just something we all go through, and it's something you have to just get over. You have to keep your why in front of you, and you have to keep your blinders on. And Mark says that all the time, and I never really understood that until I'd fallen and had to put my blinders on and stop looking at other people. So anyways, my check went down again because all those people left, and I found out, so my check for my December check that we get paid in January was $5,000. I maintained as a double, so I lost my triple again. And, you know, my volume was super low, and I found out I was pregnant. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm so done with falling down and feeling bad about myself and then being like inconsistent all the time. So I was like, I want to make $30,000 a month by June. And like, I kind of laughed at myself when I said that. I was like, yeah, right. Like, there's no way. But I took that thought and I was like, no, I can do this. So my paycheck in January was $5,000. I realized where I was struggling, where I needed help, and where I needed training was I needed to train my distributors properly. That's a whole nother story, but I needed to train my distributors properly. So I got really, really good at that. And January, I was at 5,000. February, my check went up to 8,000. March, I promoted to presidential and my check was 18,000. And it's just kept going up from there. So, you know, since January, where I was struggling, I could barely afford to go to freaking conference. You know, I was struggling. And then now I just paid for cash for our down payment on a house. And I had none of that. You know, I paid off all of my boyfriend's debt. I paid off all of his debt. I had debt racked up again from all my traveling. I paid all that off. I promoted David, my brother, oh my God, my boyfriend to double in, from January to March, he promoted to double. So you guys, no matter how far that you fall, you can get right back up and do more than you ever have. And I'm going to leave you guys with that tip, is to never let your why leave your sight. Like, you need to have, like, I don't know if you can see it. I have it still there, 30,000. I need to change it because I'm almost there. It took me a little longer than June, but between me and my boyfriend's account, we're almost making 30,000 a month. And, you know, January I was making 5,000. So you guys can do it. No matter what life gives you, you know, if you have to grieve, if you have to get over it, that's fine. But keep going. Keep your lives. Oh, I better stop because I think I only had 15 minutes and I'm over.
It's okay. That's a good stopping point. I muted her, so we should be good now. But I want to just touch on a couple things really quickly before we go on to Liz. I don't know if you guys took this from what she said. I resonated so much with you. I'm pregnant, and I was like, the day I found out I was pregnant, I was like, no more. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being a diamond. So that propelled me too. But she got really intentional with what she wanted, and that is something we have to do. Whether you just started or whether you have been in this business for a while, your why is going to always change. But if you, let's just say you are brand new and you don't know your why, and you're struggling, and you feel like, oh, I want this, but I don't really know what I want this for. You have to figure that out, or you're not going to stay with this business. You're not going to give it enough time and give it, you know, everything that you have, or that 6 months to a year time period to do this. So what I wanted to ask you is, what is your one tip you would say to someone who is brand new and struggling mindset-wise? And what is your one thing that you would leave them with?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. But honestly, and I'm so adamant about this with my team as well, is, again, know your why. Like, why did you start this? What was the reason that you started this? Like, did you start it because you're drowning in debt and you might have to claim bankruptcy? Do you want to stay at home with your kids? Like, your why should be so powerful, and it should be written down. And I can't stress that enough. Like, writing your goals down and writing your why down so you can see it every single day. That was what got me. That's actually when I first started. Like, when I told you guys I was ignorance on fire, it's because I had never written down goals. I'd never done anything like that. Like, I'd never been into self-development. So I remember I watched a video. I can't remember who it was because we didn't
She was going to fucking end it with what she was just talking about.
Oh, because we didn't have, I'm sorry, I didn't know who that was. But I didn't know, we didn't have Zooms or anything like that. So I can't remember what video it was. Anyways, I wrote down my goals, and I had my goals all over when I first started. And whenever I'd start to lose track and start to feel, because let me tell you, when I first signed up, yeah, I was ignorance on fire and like I was going crazy and I knew what I wanted, but I tried to quit probably 10 times. My upline had to talk me off the edge because I'm like a super intense person, and you know, I get these thoughts in my head, and like I told you before, I was a quitter before. When things got hard, I quit. But when you have your goals written down in front of you all the time and have your why written down, and if your why gives you that passion, then you need to look at it every single day. And I promise it might sound weird at first for people who've never done that before, because it did to me, but it works. It is seriously, I don't know what I wouldn't have gotten my crap together if I hadn't started doing that again. Like I did a vision board, you know, I did all of that, and it's so true.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you so much. Like I was like holding back the tears. I'm so pregnant right now. So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Let's see. Here you go. Okay. So now we're going to hear from Liz. Liz is a triple diamond. She's been in for 2.5 years. I'm just going to let her completely dive in, tell her story. I'm going to unmute you and just take it away, girlfriend. You got this.
Lakin, thank you so much for putting this together. I'm so excited to be on, and Karina, you killed it. So yes, I'm a triple diamond. I've been in for 2.5 years. I joined not knowing anything about the company, anything about the business. I was reached out to on social media, just like probably most of the people on here. I had just gotten out of an extremely abusive marriage, was in it my entire 20s. And I had moved back in with my mom. I lived in Atlanta. I literally put my dog and a bag of clothes in my car and drove to Alabama and stayed with my mom for about a year. I had no self-worth. I was trying to find life again because I didn't believe in myself, didn't know what I wanted to do. And I knew I obviously wasn't going to go back to Atlanta, so I drove north to Nashville. I lived on this older couple's farm and cleaned their houses on the farm to cover my board. I was so broke. I didn't have anything to my name. I had literally just gotten a job part-time at a gym. And I kept seeing this girl on Facebook talking about, she was making money from her phone. And like I said, I had literally just started a Facebook again because I deleted my old one after the abusive relationship. I had deleted everything. So I had just started a new one. And she had reached out to me, and I was like, I don't know, because I didn't really know if it was real or not, but I started watching her. And she was paying for all this stuff, and then I saw her buy her mom a car. And I was like, okay, if she can buy her mom a car, at least I can do is a couple extra $100 a month, where I can buy myself groceries, because I was literally shopping at the dollar store, the dollar section with frozen food, whatever I could afford, count and change. My phone would get shut off every single month. If I could just have enough for groceries and a phone bill, then I would be happy. So I joined. I had a super slow start. I go back and look at the messages I used to send. I'm I don't know how I ever got a customer, a distributor. This is awful. My first 4 paychecks for y'all. So if you think you're having a slow start, my first 4 paychecks were only $50. I did not quit. I kept pushing forward. I just wanted to go Ruby because I wanted that couple extra $100 a month. And I finally got some distributors. It took me 5 months to sign my first distributor. I signed my first distributor, signed my second, signed my third, signed my fourth. It started to get a little system going. And I finally went Ruby. It took me 8 months to go Ruby. So then I hit my, that couple extra $100 a month. And the thing that Karina was talking about is that was my why. And then I didn't change my why. That was it. So then I was stuck at Ruby after that because I didn't create a new why. It wasn't until Nashville boot camp the following September. I'm on Sherry Lynn Ocala's team, and she came into town with like other diamonds on the team. And like to this time, like I had only seen them on Facebook and stuff like that, but like diamond, like I had never thought of myself going diamond. Like there's no way that I could do that. But I met them at boot camp and we all went out to dinner, hung out that night. The following day went like to the actual event. And I got so inspired to see that like these people are just like me. Like there's nothing different than that, like of them to me. And I was like, I can do this too. So then I wanted to go diamond. I put it in my head, I'm going to go diamond. Next month I went emerald. And then went to conference and like got out of conference. I was like, I'm going to go diamond. I'm going to go diamond. Then my boyfriend, like who I've been together with a couple years, started feeling really bad. He went to like a quick little doctor down here and he checked in. They're like, you have to go to the hospital right now. His blood pressure was 238/186 and he was like almost stroke level. So he got to the hospital and I had like just gotten down there with him. And they came, like the doctor came in and said, and I felt like I was dreaming. They said like, your kidneys are failing. And I was like, what? Like it was awful. And so they like, every time the doctor came, like he was in the hospital for 7 days. And every time that they came back in, like they were worse than they were before. And like they were talking about dialysis, and he was young, like he's 35 years old. They were talking about like dialysis, everything else. And I was like, okay, you know what? He's obviously not going to be able to go back to work right now. I need to step my game up. I like literally, I slept in the hospital bed next to him and I promoted him to emerald, got him the emerald bonus that they had just like announced, like in the hospital, promoted him to emerald. And then the next month I went diamond. So by the grace of God and like prayer and like we had amazing doctors, he was able to not go on dialysis, and he's on a bunch of medication now that he'll have to be for the rest of his life. But he's doing better now. He was able to go back to work. But when I hit diamond, at that same time, I had been promoted to GM at a gym that I was working part-time at before. And I was working like all the time there. And then I would come home and literally like come in my office and work until I went to bed to try to work my business. I was comfortable at diamond. I didn't triple diamond, y'all. That was like unicorn status to me. Like I did not think that that was ever going to be possible. Like that was not something that I could do. So I was at diamond for a while. I was at diamond, like I sat at diamond, and I heard, I think it was the Top Leader Zoom. It was last September, and it was like a bunch of top leaders were on it, and I heard it, and I like, because I was going through like major depression. I would wake up miserable to go to work. I hated my job. Like I hated what I was doing. Like I was anxious about it all the time because I felt like my business was failing because I was basically making somebody else rich going to work for them all day. And then by the time I got home, my relationship was struggling because I couldn't give him any attention because literally all I was doing was working. And I was comfortable. Like I was making diamond pay, and then I was making my GM at the job pay. So I heard this Zoom, and I remember Morgan Martin said, you just have to decide that you're going to do it. And then somebody else said, burn the boats. And I said, you know what? I literally made a decision that day. I said, by March, I don't care what rank I am, I'm going to leave my job. So then I had it in my goal that that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm totally going to leave, like, no matter what. I don't care if I'm executive, I'm leaving the gym. So I got to it. Like, I started working harder because I had that goal in my forefront. And I went to conference, got back to conference, literally put in my notice as soon as I got back. And I promoted to double that same month, got Matthew to diamond. Then I charted for triple the next month. I promoted him to double the following month, and then I went triple the next month. So then 11 days after I went triple, my mom died. So now I'm going through the same thing, like, again, like, because like when that happened, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to, like, I just wanted to be in a hole. And this was like exactly a month ago today. But I treat this business now as a business because it pays like all of our bills. And I know that if I was like at a real job, then I would get a week grievance. So I treat it that way, as like I literally, the following Monday, I like started working again, went back to work, like started messaging again. Because I even told Matthew, I was like, I might not be like all perky and happy and in my post all smiling. I was like, but I can copy and paste. So, and I'm like, so I got to host a post. I started signing customers because like I owe it to my team because I love them so much that I'm not going to quit on them because my mom wouldn't have wanted that to happen. And she was so proud of me for going triple, and I wasn't going to let that go back, like just give up everything because of how crushed I was. So sorry to get emotional. So that's like what I am now, but guys, like you have to find your why. Like what Karina was saying, you have to find your why. You have to have it in your forefront all the time. Like now, like after I went triple and I retired from corporate America, now like we're buying a house this year. My goal is to retire Matthew by January. Like you have to keep those things, and don't forget, like, don't be afraid to dream big. Like every single person on the Zoom can go as far as you want to. It's all in your mind. It's 100% mindset. Like if you just have to decide that you're worthy and that you're worth it, and then just go after it. Like that's it. Like in the comparison thing, I struggled with this so bad when I first started. I would look at other people like on our team and that were promoting quicker than me, and I would be like, why are they promoting and I'm not promoting? Like, are they better than me? Are they doing it better than me? You have to keep your blinders on and know that this is your journey that God has given you and not anybody else's. And that what they're going through is their journey. So just trust God's timing. Like if you put your goal out in front of you and decide that you're going to do it, the only way that's not going to happen is to quit. That's the only way. Like if you put it out there, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what happens in the process. And those things that happen along the way, that's going to build your story where you can reach back and help other people along the way, like that go through similar things. So God's just making you stronger so you can turn around and help the next person up. So you guys just decide that you can do it, give it all to God, everything to God, like absolutely, because I wouldn't be anywhere at all without him. And like I said, just don't quit and you can absolutely be successful.
I love that. I have a couple questions. So you went from, like diamond basically to triple. What did you do? What did you do differently, mindset wise, self-development wise, and what did you do like personally to change your business? I mean, you've been through a lot, you've been through so much, and how do you keep yourself going even when it's hard, even when there are some people right now struggling with depression or losing other parents or make sure you guys keep yourselves muted, please. So there are people going through life just like we all have in their own way. And so what would you tell them to keep them going? What did you do for yourself?
First of all, I'm not going to tell y'all just to quit your job and burn the boats. Good job, don't do that. But that was something that like really drove me because I was like, it's sink or swim. Like I don't have a way to pay my bills if like this doesn't work. I like, especially the month I went from double to triple, I quadrupled all my daily tasks. Like it was like if I sent 50 messages typically a day, I would send 200 messages. If I added 50 people, I would add 200 people. I like consistency is so important. If you just show up for your business one day, 2 days a week, if no one's going to take you seriously, you have to show up. Like when you start treating it like a business, like showing up every single day, that's when your business is going to change. So, and another thing, like with self-development, I am a self-development junkie. I love it. Like I literally in the morning, before I do anything else, I have like my Bible study that I do. And I do daily affirmations, which I love. I've been doing that since I was like the beginning of this year. I've been doing the daily affirmations that I just write in a journal. I write gratitude down. It's all about getting your mind in the right space, because if you don't fill your cup up in the mornings, then you have a team, how can you pour into them if you're not filling yourself up? And then literally in my office all day long, I will have self-development play. I don't listen to music, anything like that. I will have self-development playing in the background as I'm working. I listen to like the 10X is what I'm listening to right now. But like anything John Maxwell, I listen to Tony Robbins, I like Eric Thomas. I'll just write in like motivational video in YouTube. And then before I go to bed, after I'm like around like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, I will unplug like for the evening, and then I will go read a chapter in the book, and I'm reading Leadership right now. So like self-development's been huge. I like recommend anybody that's not doing it to definitely like find like something that works for you, whether it's like audibles or something to be, because your mind is a muscle, just like everything else. You have to exercise it to grow it.
I love that. I love that you said that, because I went so fast my first 3 months that I did not even think that I needed self-development. And then when I was stuck, I was like, oh, that's what they're talking about. That's why they preach self-development. I love that so much. And I'm just so thankful you're on. You've been through a lot. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Sorry, I have to like scroll to find. If you can you mute yourself? It'll just be, sorry. So I have to like scroll to find your name again. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna hear from Lindsay. Lindsay is a single mom. She's killing it, you guys. She's top 107 of our whole entire company, which is so amazing because she sat an executive for what, a year? Yeah, and now she's a presidential diamond. So I'm just excited to hear what you have to say. Let's see. You can unmute yourself. You already did. There we go.
Hey. Okay, so you guys are awesome. Can we say like weak people do not make it? Like, as you can see how strong these people have to be, like life has to happen. And honestly, I was sitting down because I'm very much like, I have so much to say. Sometimes I just suck at saying it. So I was like prepping to write down, and something that really like came out to me was the thing, like so much of life that I thought was going to destroy me, like literally tear me up and eat me. I am so happy it happened because I would not have been here. Like my story would not be my story if I like didn't feel like I was going to die, because that's honestly what a year of my life felt like. So as Lakin said, I'm a single mom. I'm 26 years old. I joined this business basically the next month after being a single mom. As you know, I very much relate to Karina. I had a very abusive ex and talked down to me a lot. And I think that's where, you know, kind of gave me my courage in the first few months. And I also, you know, joined social media. Like I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to suck. Like we all want, like we join and we're so scared of failing that we just like really, really try. And so, you know, my first month went executive. My second month, I almost went Ruby. So I didn't stop there. Third month went Ruby. We had $10 kits and I charted diamond, and it was like my best life. Like here I am about to be getting that what was it, like a 5,000 bonus at the time? I don't even know. It was way different. Well, reality was I didn't get it. Like I didn't get that bonus. And so I always like, that's kind of my story. Is like so many people are like, well, what happens if I don't get the bonus? I'm like, guys, I didn't get the bonus. I didn't get the bonus. I just didn't quit. And so you, yeah, it was a really long time I sat at executive. So from April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, life happened. Like life was really painful. I was hanging out with like the wrong crowd for a really long time. And that just started me in trouble. I was drinking a ton because I was going through a child custody case, which I just couldn't handle weekends not having my daughter. Like I just wanted her all the time. That was my little baby. That was my best friend. And my ex was pretty narcissist. So he basically was a controlling mechanism or whatever. And so I struggled, you know, I did the steps with my business, but when I look back to it, I was never doing the steps. I don't even know what I was doing, to be completely honest, like throwing up a post and not messaging people, or if people, you know, commented on stuff, not reaching out to them. But I made it look good. I threw up a nice, cute photo and had cute words. Like it was, you know, it was there. It was whatever. So I didn't I didn't work my business. Like I said, life kept happening. In December of 2018, I remember going to my enroller and I was like, I think I have to get a job. Like, I need to get a big girl job. I was a nanny. I was working 50 plus hours a week. And so I had my daughter with me, which was awesome. And so, you know, working this business in the meantime of that was something realistic. But if you are not mentally okay, you cannot work this business. Like, that is the reality. If you are in a dark spot, there's no, you should be able to do this 6 list, whatever. Like, you can't. And I think for a long time I struggled with that because I didn't understand why I wasn't okay. Like, why am I struggling with these things? Why am I not okay? And so that December, after speaking to my upline in January, I had like $75. I bought a ticket to go to conference. I was executive. I went to my first conference January 2018 as an executive, and I was like, enough is enough. Like, so basically what had happened, that kind of kicked me into the gear that I normally don't share this with everyone just because it's personal, but I got in a DWI and I was a nanny, and my nanny job ended the end of that August. And I knew that my nanny family loved me. They're like, you know, what you choose to do on your weekends is up to you. Obviously I didn't have my kid with me. It wasn't my weekend with her. But that put a really financial dent into my life as a single mom, which I was already trying to fix. And I lost my car. I didn't know how I was going to get to work. Like, I didn't know how I was going to do anything. And my family was supportive, but my family didn't have money to support that or just, you know, grant me a car. And I just, the whole time I remember just looking at my phone and being like, okay, like, I can do this. Like, I have to do this. Otherwise, like, I'm going to literally be a nobody. And so I was executive in January. The $5,000 Emerald bonus came out. I literally went from executive to Emerald. I was so happy with that, so proud, but also kind of tired. But then it was just the consistency of working my business that, guys, going from executive to like triple, it almost seemed easy because everything first year, 1 year of, even though I didn't hustle, like, people quit. That when I was pushing for diamond. So basically, went Emerald 3 months later, I went diamond, I think it was. I did it for a second. Later, I went double. Months later, I went triple, and 3 months later, residential. And life still kept happening. Live in Minnesota during the winter seasons, man, I get depressed sometimes. But it's literally the development. Like, you have to decide. And for me, which was, you know, like the way big and the better person, but my motivation was the fact that I was in a ton of debt. He racked up all of my credit cards. I had debt from our lawyer, and I wasn't going to be 26 years old with $40,000 in debt. That didn't, and I did not want to not be able to sleep at night any longer because I had all this debt. And so working and being consistent with that is really like what got me out of it wasn't anything magical. It was doing the steps every single day and honestly not stopping. So that is kind of, you know, the craziness. It can go into depth, like, a lot more. The hiccups, the roller coaster, like, it wasn't easy at all. I have a couple more notes that I did want to share too. Was like, do not be obsessed with your title. Be obsessed with changing lives, because when you change lives, that is where you're going to see the money that you are hoping will come with that title. Guys, there are triple diamonds that are getting paid more than presidentials. There are doubles getting paid more than triples. And so when you are obsessed with changing lives in your business with you, that is when you guys are going to go to the top. And that's, you know, something that I have definitely learned for a while. For me, it definitely was a title. Like, hello to my ex-boyfriend who didn't have a job. It was so motivating to be like, hey, like, I see you creeping on my Facebook again. Yes, you just saw me make 5 figures this month. Like, that was motivating. But then it was like, okay, God's like calming me down, settling my heart, because it's just not who I was. And so another thing was, I never looked at a paycheck. Like when there was that, like almost that first year, like guys, there's people on my team, if they had sat at distributor for 4 months after going Ruby, they would have quit. Like, and that's why I always tell them, guys, you have to stick with it because you just never know when that one person's going to enter your business. But I've never looked at a paycheck, at that $100 paycheck, at that $200 paycheck, and been like, oh, well, I put in this much X number hours of work and I only got paid that. No, an extra $100, $300, that was like half a week of a nanny paycheck. Like I felt like I was getting 5 weeks of pay when I was only working 4 weeks and making money from my phone. So it's just, check your heart and your gratitude and be grateful. And the money's gonna come and the people are gonna come, and like the stroke of the business, it just will come naturally. But you have to get into that self-development. I was ignorance on fire for a really long time. I just kept doing the steps and I just got really good luck. And now, 2.5 years in my business, I want to go ambassador. Gotta have a lot of personal development because it took me 2 years to go presidential with 150. I'm not going to be getting no 250 overnight. So it all takes time, but you have to decide, like, marriages. Guys, if you have the biggest hiccup in a marriage or in a relationship, you're not just out. If I sat in this business and I got a $2,000 paycheck, guys, which hasn't happened, but if that ever happened, I'm not leaving because I'm faithful to this company and I'm faithful to my journey and I know its outcome. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you said that, because sometimes I feel like, especially maybe it's more when we're newer, I guess, and we're not going as fast, or we have this expectation when we join, I'm going to make this amount of money because I did this amount of work, but we don't know what work it really takes to make the money that we want to make. Like, we're not going to join in 1 month. Well, most of us aren't going to join in 1 month and have like a 5-figure paycheck. Maybe that's happened for a couple people, but it's just not realistic. You have to put in the work. And when you see that check, I have people come to me sometimes. We all do if we have people on our team that say, my check was only $80. It was only this. I'm like, what is the word only? Like, why are you adding that in this conversation right now? So I love that you said that, because check your heart. Like, that's what it comes down to. That was more money than you had before you joined.
Yeah.
No matter what.
If I'm making over $300, that's what I joined for. Like, I'm happy about it. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I care about. So
Exactly. I love that. So one thing I wanted to ask you is, what is your best self-development 3 books? What do you listen to stuff, etc.?
Personally for me, I have to listen just because, like, I really struggle with sitting down and reading and just really taking it in. And so, oh my goodness, I, have it connected to my car all the time. I was listening to, I don't know who told me, but they're like, if you hear quiet in the background, you should have a book on. And so whether I am, doing washing the dishes or getting ready in the morning. Right now, I'm just literally going World Series through Jade Hooper because she's the best thing that's ever happened. But very common, YouTube, just searching self-development. The other books, obviously, Girl Stop Apologizing was one of the last audibles I listened to. Leadership books I'm really diving myself into. There's so many different ones, but yeah, self-development. I did my full first year in my business without it. But when you really do become a leader, obviously leading one is a leadership, but if you find yourself just drained, you could be drained as a Ruby leader, or you could be drained. Finally, it caught up to me when I went Prez. I was exhausted. And if I would have done self-development leading up to that, I would have saved myself like about 60 days of like wanting to die because I was so burnt out. And so, just take it from the top. You guys have to make sure that you are filling up your cup, because you can, like, I ran. And then when I came to a stop, caught up, I was drained. I was so drained because I forgot to fill my cup. But I was drained with a 5-figure paycheck. So it was there.
But we need it. I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So much. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit over with our last person. It's totally fine, though, because you're going to want to hear what she says. You've heard everyone talk about, like, how long they've been in the business. Most of us is 5 years and under. I've only been in for basically 2.5. she's been in way longer. Well, maybe not like way longer, but longer than 5 years, you guys. She's been through a lot. But one thing I want to say right now is that if you've noticed for the previous 3 people speaking, they have so many like common things that they've shared. Self-development is huge, for one, and then never quitting when it gets tough. And really finding your why and like just getting really, really intentional with what does that even look like for you, and writing down your goals. So I hope you guys are loving this like I am. Allison, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and just take it away.
All right. Well, thank you. Can you hear me? My internet connection is kind of crazy. Okay. So I'm super excited to talk with you guys tonight. It's kind of funny because literally yesterday at like 2:00, Lakin messaged me, and she was on my Zoom last night with like a 5-hour notice. And then she messaged me like an hour ago, was like, hey, will you be on my Zoom? And I'm like, yep, you're last minute for me. I'll be last minute for you. So it worked out perfectly. Okay, you guys. So I'm Allison Stanley, and I'm a presidential, and I'm in Washington State, and I've been in this business for 6 years. And this journey, I mean, I could go all over the board, and I'm probably going to repeat some stuff that you've already heard, but I'm going to start back, kind of just run through my journey really quick, like 5-minute rundown, and then give you a couple tips. So I'm a paper person too, so I write everything down. So I joined in March of 2013. Okay. So I joined, and I was, like you've heard all night long, ignorance on fire. I didn't really know what I was doing or what I was even joining, to be completely and 100% honest with you. I was a former restaurant manager. I was overworked and underpaid. I literally worked to live, and it was just terrible. I made about $5,000 a month at my restaurant job, you guys, but if you broke it down to how many hours I was working, it was disgusting. It was like 80 to 90 hours a week, sometimes 100 hours a week. I literally lived there. Well, I had a boyfriend at the time who his friend was not my husband, but his friend's girlfriend was like, hey, I'm doing like this wrap party, you should come. And my only response was like, number one, what the heck is that? And number two, I was like, well, if you have wine, I'll come. So I was that friend that's like, I don't know what you're doing, but if you got wine, I'm there. Okay. I'm a red by day and a blue by night. So I went to the party, you guys. I was the only person that rapped, the only one. I was like, well, I'm going to try this thing. Like, I don't even know what this is. So I put it on, and I saw results right away. So I didn't have anything to nearly what we have now. We didn't have any of the keto. We didn't have hair, skin, and nails. I mean, oh my gosh, we didn't have anything, you guys, what we have now. And so the wrap was like my product. I tried it. I loved it. I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this wrap just tightened, toned, and firmed my tummy in 45 minutes. And I didn't drink water. I drank wine. I'm in. Like, I knew for sure that I was going to have some other friends that were going to love this. So I left. The next day, she's like, I'm looking to get my first 4 customers. Do you want to help me out? I said, sure, why not? I'll help you out. And then she said, or you can make some money. Here's my first tip for you, is that anytime somebody comes to you about wanting to join as a loyal customer, don't forget to offer up the business as well. And this is one of my biggest tips, because I have learned that if you start with the loyal customer program, it's super hard to go up to the distributor program. If you start as a distributor, you can go down to a loyal customer. Okay. And you don't think about that. Like, even last night, a girl that was like, I want keto coffee. And I said, do you have $50? And she goes, well, yeah. I said, great, let's become a distributor. You get some keto coffee in your kit. We'll go from there. We'll get you your first 4 customers, and boom, you can get a couple bags of keto coffee with the shopping spree. Okay. So I joined in March, you guys. Literally didn't get my e-suite. Didn't know we didn't even have team pages back then. My upline quit in 30 days. So I got my free product. I didn't know I got my free product, didn't even redeem it for like, I think 3 months. I ended up going executive 2 months later, didn't even know what executive was, didn't even know I got paid, literally had no idea what I was doing, but all I knew is this product worked. That's it. And that's all I did. I didn't have social media back then. I literally did it 100% face-to-face. And I just talked to people. Everywhere I went, I wore a shirt or I had a Blitz card, and I was just like, hey, have you heard of this? Have you tried it? And a lot of people were like, no, what is this? And I gave a Blitz card, said, hey, can I give you either a coupon through a text, and so I can, shoot you a message? However I had to do it, I got their phone number. Okay. It wasn't until June of that year when I went Ruby, I started realizing that, like, oh, we have a charting system. We have an e-suite. Like, I did not, you guys, realize any of this. I went to my first event in June as well. And I remember sitting in the crowd and hearing all these stories on stage and people saying, I made a $10,000 bonus and I'm making 5 figures a month. And I was like, oh, I'm like, no, that's probably not me. Like I was so skeptical still because I was like, I just tried this body wrap, but I'm trying to make some money and that's it. I wasn't trying to replace my income, even though I hated my job. I was overworked and underpaid, and I was just sick and tired, but I was so skeptical about opening my heart and opening my mind to this business. And you're going to hear me say towards the end, but once you let this business go from your head to your heart, you're unstoppable and you'll never quit. You'll never quit, because you don't work your business based on how you feel. You work your business based on what you want. Okay. And so I had to really realize that it wasn't about my feelings. Your feelings don't pay your bills. Action pays your bills. Results pay your bills. Enrollments pay your bills. And I think that's why I'm super pumped about corporate talking this whole entire year about all we do. We get paid to do two things: enroll customers and enroll distributors. We don't get paid to do anything else. Everything else is just side work or back end work. Okay. And so June, I went to a conference, or I went to my first event. God, I don't remember what it was called, to be honest with you. Back then it was in Seattle. And I remember going to lunch with Denise. Denise Walsh is my upline. And I remember now she has my other upline quit, and I compressed up to her. And we went to lunch, and I ended up finding out I was pregnant that like same month. And she was pregnant too at the time. And she looked at me and she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, you're going to be my next diamond. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Literally, like I was so skeptical still. I did not believe in what you could truly do with this business. And so you guys, I remember leaving that event, and it wasn't until January 2014 my son was born. Or January 2014, yeah. January 25th, the day he was born, I remember laying in the hospital bed, and I texted Denise and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going for it. I'm going to quit my job in June. And she goes, okay, did you just have a baby? Like, I go, yep, like 2 hours ago. I missed conference that year. The first year conference I missed because I was literally in the hospital bed during conference that year. And you guys, I went Emerald I got my car bonus in March. I went Emerald in April, and then I went Diamond in May, and I earned the $10,000 bonus, and I quit my job June 1st. I remember walking into work, handing that paper, and it was like the best feeling in the world. And I remember my husband, now we were dating at the time, I remember him being like, okay, you have a 6-month-old baby, you're quitting your job, you're absolutely psychotic. Like, you can't quit your job right now. Like, this is dumb. And I'm like, no, it's actually not dumb. I'm going to make more money. I promise you. Like, I quit at Diamond, you guys. And a lot of people quit at like double or triple. I quit at Diamond. So I think my Diamond check was like $2,100, $2,200. So yeah, legit, my husband now thought I was absolutely crazy. So through that summer, I worked my butt off that whole summer being home, and it was hard transitioning from working full time to being home with a baby now. And like, what do I do all day with my time? Like, I didn't know social media still. Okay. This is 2014. It was still not that big. I was still more face-to-face and in home parties and one-on-ones and rapping. And then in November that year, we went double. Okay. Then life started happening. Okay. Life happened between double to triple. And I wrote this down because what started happening is I started growing a team. Right. And I started realizing that I needed to realize that I didn't even know what personal development was. I didn't even know what Zooms. It was so funny because we discovered Zoom. Our team discovered Zoom freaking like 5 years ago. And now I'm like, we do Zooms all the time. And it's so funny because we didn't do trainings. We didn't do anything. And I just started realizing that I'm like, okay, I have to continue leading from the front, but I got so wrapped up between double and triple of micromanaging and trying to making sure people were working and making sure people were charting. And I was so freaking drained. I don't remember which one of you guys said that. I don't know if it's Lindsay or Liz or one of you guys said it, but like mentally and exhausted. I was drained. I was like so exhausted every day that I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I want to work my business, but there were so much other things that I was getting so distracted with. And again, distracted with, okay? And I was not prioritizing my time, and I was just all over the place. When we say we're quote unquote working and we're scrolling social media and we're liking posts, but you get paid to do two things: enroll loyal customers and enroll distributors. So if you're not, number one, messaging, Host to Post was not 3 years ago. So now with Host to Post, if you're not messaging or you're not doing Host to Post, you're not going to get paid. I mean, bottom line. And that's what I tell everybody now is back then between that double and triple hump, I was just like, okay, I got to chart. Okay, I got to do Zooms. Okay, I got to do this. When in reality, I stopped working as hard as I was working from going up to double. And then it wasn't until when we earned the cruises. When we had our cruises, I earned both the cruises. And I remember going on the cruise with Denise, and it was the second cruise. There was a Mexico cruise, I believe. Not the Bahamas, but the Mexico cruise. And I remember Denise, we were sitting down one night, and Denise looks at me and she's like, enough is enough. You deserve to go triple diamond. And I'm like, and I just remember like this rush of feelings coming over and being like, yes, I was so caught up in what my team was doing, and I lost laser focus of what I was doing and what I wanted, and I stopped dreaming. I know somebody said that about, you have to dream. You have to do affirmations every day. You have to do personal development. You can't get so caught up in the, sorry, excuse my language, I'm a cusser too. I think that was Karina that said that. I cuss too. I'm a mom of two, you guys. I'm now married to my husband for 7 years. I cuss too. But you know what? Cut the bullshit, because quit telling yourself that you're freaking working and you're not. And I literally would tell myself, no, I did my checklist and I did this, and I look at my inbox. If you do not have conversations going on right now in your inbox, that's why you are where you are right now. Like, bottom line, there is no way around that. There's nowhere beating around that bush. And that was where my wake up call came about. When Denise said, cut the shit, go triple diamond. And I'm like, yep, I need to get back to work. I need to continue doing what I was doing that made me money and that continued me promoting. I stopped the momentum. My team didn't stop the momentum. I stopped the momentum. And guess what? When you stop momentum, it is so hard to shift back in the lane of momentum again. It is so hard. Anybody that knows that they lost momentum, they know it's hard to go back up. Okay. So speaking from experience, you guys, I remember leaving Mexico, February that next year, we went triple. You guys, 40 days later, we went presidential diamond. 40 days later. That is a huge jump from triple to prez. And I remember I didn't even have my prez chart out yet. I just thought, we're going. And literally, I still don't remember to this day prez even happening, because it was just so crazy. But then guess what, you guys? A month after promoting to prez, getting a $20,000 check, I was so pumped. We had bonus after bonus coming in. Things are going great. I mean, things are rolling again. The next month, life happened again. Guess what? A leader on our team just turned dirty. I mean, I'm just going to straight up say it. She was nasty. She was dirty. She was starting drama right and left. And it was just sucks because she was a maid of honor in my wedding. And it was bad. It was just drama after drama after drama, you guys. She was my triple. Guess what happened? She stopped working. And guess what? She finally canceled her account like a month ago, I think. And it was like a 2 years coming. Well, she stopped working, and then she started telling her diamonds to stop working. And then she started getting the mix of all of our other diamonds. And so we had like 10 plus diamonds that are like coming down. And I'm like, holy shit, we just went on this huge momentum run. And now because of drama, and I don't even freaking know, to be honest with you, because I stay out of all that crap. And I realized, I'm like, God, these are all just distractions. It's all just distractions. And so I have to tell you this, the past 2 years, I have learned this the freaking hard way. And I'm here to tell you this because I want you to learn from me, that your circle of influence has more impact on your business than you think. It really does. Because then I started getting pissed off at my business, when in reality, it was just a small group, core group of people. And I had thousands of people over here that still want to work. They still love the business, but I was so distracted on this crap over here that I was like, okay, maybe I'm not a good leader. Okay, maybe I'm not doing things right. But yet I'm like, wait, we just went prez like 45 days ago. So I got stuck in this trap of like, comparison trap of like, okay, well, I took the blinders off and I was like, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm not meant for this business. Maybe I don't bring the right people into my business. Maybe, I just started doubting everything that I just did the last 4 years. Okay. And this is what sucked the ever living life out of me. At that time, I had a 2-year-old. We got married. I mean, it was just, you guys, so much life happened that time. Okay. Well, I'm here to tell you this. Last year was the hardest year in this business for me. Found out we were pregnant. My daughter literally changed everything. She's now 1.5. She screamed for like the last 3 hours. I'm just gonna be real with you. And I literally went and put her in her bed. I was like, go to bed. Mom's done. Good night. I mean, I know you guys can all relate. That's why I told Leigh, I go put me last, because she's probably going to be screaming until like the last 5 minutes of the Zoom. Terrible Tuesday's coming early. And you guys, she was born in November of 2017. Okay. For the first 6 months of 2018, I went through some massive postpartum depression. Like, I'm talking just bad. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to talk to my team. And like, my team knows I am so freaking like, I'm red all day and I'm blue at night. Like, let's freaking grind it out during the day. But when it comes to conference, we have fun at night. Like, that's the way I am. You get the work done, you make money, and you also have fun. So I went from hosting like weekly team meetings and just all these fun stuff and leadership retreats and all this. And I just like was down in the freaking dumps for like 6 months. And I just lost my shit, like lost my confidence, lost my personality. My husband was like, where'd my wife go? And like this confident woman is gone. And it was so much depression just like sucked me in, you guys. And I was like, I gained 60 pounds from my pregnancy. And I remember like looking in the mirror, and it was in Keto Coffee came out. First of all, Keto Coffee came out that like October, was right before I had my daughter, and I started drinking it, I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. And I'll tell you this, it wasn't until May of last year. So like it took me still about a month to get out of it. June is really when things started transforming for me, last June. And so I'm here to tell you, like, I went up, I went down, I went up, I went down. I mean, it's life. Shit, something's always going to hit the fan. It always is. But it's you decide how you want to overcome that. You decide how you are going to get through that. Okay. And mentally, there's so many times where I'm like, man, I can't handle this. And, you know, God's not going to give me what I can't handle and this and that. But what I realize in this business is if you are not thankful for where you are right now and grateful for where you are right now, God is not going to give you what you can't handle. If you can't handle a $500 paycheck right now, he's not going to give you a $5,000 paycheck. And I started realizing that I'm not going to get that $20,000 check again if I can't handle $5,000, $10,000. And I started realizing that, like, we paid off all of our debt. We purchased 2 homes. We purchased our Malibu. We purchased our cars. We paid off everything. And then we started slowly kind of getting back into debt a little bit because I'm like, but we still need to do this and still need to do this. And I realized I'm like, no, we don't. God has blessed us so much in this business, regardless of the struggles, regardless of what we've been through, regardless of depression, all this shit, regardless of that. And I have to continue being thankful and grateful, and the right people will come to my business. Well, guess what? From last June to now, a year, I have dropped 69 pounds. I am the healthiest I've ever been. It was so funny because I played college volleyball, you guys, and I've wanted to coach again so much. Being in this business, it allows you to free up other things, right? It allows you to free up time. I got a head coaching position just this last August. I'm a head volleyball coach at a high school. My husband's a head basketball coach. We are thriving in our marriage and our kids and our roles in our life. Okay. And I tell you what, right now, am I Ambassador Diamond right now? No. Will I be Ambassador Diamond? Yes. Okay. And again, freaking get rid of that rank and go for the bank. You can make $30,000 a month at Presidential. You can make $50,000 a month at Triple. You don't have to have this stupid title linked to you. And that paralyzed me for so freaking long. I looked at the ambassador chart for like 2 years, 3 years, and I'm like, never going to get there, never going to get there. She quit. And now I was just like screwing my mind so much. And I realized I'm like, I didn't start for $25,000 a month. I started because I wanted this body wrap and a glass of wine and a girls' night. Like, it had nothing to do with money, right? So we sometimes have to take a step back and realize that, like, okay, cut the shit, get over yourself, and realize that you're worth more than where you're allowing yourself to be right now, okay? One more thing that I want to share really quick is that I didn't have, and I know there's probably a lot of you that can relate to this, is I did not have spousal support. My husband, you guys, it took literally until like a year ago for him to even be on board. I've gone to 5 conferences. I've hosted hundreds of freaking trainings. Like, we've done so much, okay? And he's never said, don't go do it or don't do it. He's been a silent supporter. I mean, when we started making 5 figures a month, he didn't even be like, hey, good job. Nothing. I'm not even kidding you. Like, nothing. And I'm like, okay, you asshole. I just made like 3 times what you made and not even like a good job or flowers or high five, like nothing. And I started realizing that, like, I had to do this business for me. I had to quit waiting for validation for anybody else. I had to quit waiting for, Denise to call me or text me and be like, hey, great job. Okay. You don't need anybody to freaking pat you on the back or give you a high five. You need yourself. And that's what I realized. My babies needed me. My team needed me. I needed myself. I needed to get in the best shape of my life. I needed to be the leader my team needed. I needed to be the coach for my high school girls. I needed that. And when I lost that, because of some stupid drama validation and weight and depression and marriage, whatever crap. I mean, it's so crazy where I look back now and I'm like, I'm so thankful I went through all of that. And I would go through it 100 times over because it brought me to where I am right now. Losing rank 400,000 times and gaining it back, it sucks. But guess what? Where you are right now is not where you're meant to be. So you just have to decide where you're going next. Write it down, speak your affirmations, do your personal development, know your circle of influence, and what was I going to say really quick? Oh, and your spouse, they'll come around. They will. If they don't support you now, they will come around, I promise you, because it still took oh my God, you guys. like we bought our dream boat, truck, home, everything like that. None of that even mattered. What matters when he started seeing me healthy and happy, he was like, I can do this too. And he got healthy. He lost 30 pounds in the last 5 months too. So just know that you're not alone. Number one. Number two, we all struggle. We're all real. We're all human. Our social medias are a highlight reel. So all of it's not always real. So yeah, there's all that for now, Lincoln. I'm like, so yeah, now we're going for ambassador. So there you go.
No, I love that. I love that you said that. And there are a couple of things that you said that I was like, wow, pump the brakes, because there's just so many things you think about in this business. And we say it and we say it over and over and over again. Sometimes we don't even believe it ourselves. Like, but we tell our teams and we're like, hey, but then we're like, oh, but do we believe that? You know? And I don't know if you guys realize like how real everyone on this Zoom is. It does not matter where we're at in the top of the company. It doesn't matter. Like titles, just like she said, titles don't matter. Do they feel great when you're like, I'm a triple diamond? Hell yeah, because you like worked your butt off to get there and you like did so much to get there. But it doesn't define you, and it doesn't. That's one thing I've had to learn personally, is that when I went triple, I was like, yeah, I'm triple. And then the next month I wanted to go prez. Prez didn't happen, and prez will happen. But that moment right there, I was like, well, let me just take a step back and like be humble and be grateful that we make what we make. And if you don't make a lot of money right now, you will. You just have to like stay the course. And so a couple of things that I want to like leave you guys with is just, you know, if you don't have your why written down, if you don't even know what your why is, I want you guys to like write it down as soon as you get off this, because you need to know. You have got to know what your why is, and you've got to get really, really like familiar with it and be intentional and be specific. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but if you write down, I want to make this amount of money to the dollar amount, don't just like throw out random stuff, like to the dollar. Say, I want to make $1,550 or something like that by this day, and put it in front of you. Put it in front of your, like wherever you go, bathroom, car, bedroom, like your office if you have one, whatever. Put it in front of you so you can actually see it and believe it. And once you start doing it and putting it out there and talking about it, you get excited about it. Even if you don't believe necessarily the day that you write it down that it's going to happen, it will, as long as you keep going. And obstacles are always going to get in your way of this business in your life. Like, we're human. We do have a business that we run, but we're human, okay? We can't prevent depression. We can't prevent losing babies or losing spouses or losing parents or losing dogs. Like, we can't prevent any of that. But what we can prevent is quitting, letting ourselves get stuck, letting ourselves stay in a hole, and letting ourselves like just say, oh, you know what? I'm going to just throw this all away because life is hard right now. No, get over it. And by get over it, I mean that by like, I'm so yellow for the most part. Get over it in the sense of like, you can do it. So get that out of your mind and just get through it and then continue. And so a couple of things. If you are on here right now and you're like, man, I'm not a diamond and above. I don't know if I'm a leader. Like, you are a leader if you have one person on your team. You're a leader if you don't have any people on your team. A leader is all about mindset. It is not about title. And so one book I want you guys to write down, I'll put it in the chat. It's actually like literally such a short book. And me and my leadership, my Diamond and Above, we read this together, and it's such an amazing book for anyone. It's by John Maxwell, and it's How Successful People Lead. And it's such a short read, but you guys, when I read that and I was like, wow, light bulb effect, because in that it says, you know, your leadership is not a position or a title. It is what you do. It is your actions. So you have to like take that and run with it. If you don't have someone on your team working, maybe you built yourself to Emerald and everyone quit. Okay, well, we've built ourselves to Diamond and to Triple, and like everyone's quit before. It's okay. You can bounce back. You just have to continue to keep going. And the one thing that I took from you talking, because I'm 23, you guys, me and Allison are so different. The one thing I took from her talking about her journey with this business is how freaking blessed are we that we have social media? Like, how blessed are we? But that doesn't mean that we can't be successful if we aren't good at social media. She didn't have social media for such a long time. And look at her now. She's a presidential diamond. She's going to know ambassador. And like, she could have let that prevent her. She could have let that stop her like, oh, I don't know how to build my business. But she was excited. You have got to get excited about this business. The products are freaking amazing. I've lost 60 pounds using our product. Not now, I'm pregnant, but like with baby number 1, I gained 60 pounds. I lost them too. And so it doesn't matter if you've never tried them. Be excited. Be excited about other people's results. Be excited about all the things we have coming in. Like we have so many new products coming our way that we've already released new stuff, but we have so many coming to us before the end of the year, you guys, that it's just going to blow us out of the water. You are exactly where you're supposed to be right now in this business. Doesn't matter rank, doesn't matter anything. If you joined, you're in the right spot and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So just know that, you know, it's great that we have social media. It's an amazing tool to use, but use your other tools. Get in front of people, do parties, branch out and get uncomfortable, because when you get uncomfortable, I personally hate talking in a public. But I did an event right after conference, and it brought me out of my shell. I did it with another person, Alicia Waters, who's a presidential, and she has been in the business for a while. And I was the only double diamond, you guys, and I was sitting there saying, I'm going to go triple. And this was in February, and February was like a rough patch for me, pregnancy-wise, and mindset-wise, but I was just speaking it out there in the front of a room full of people. I hate public speaking. I was scared to death, but that night like ignited a fire inside of me, because I broke out of a comfort zone. I talked and like faced a fear, and then the next month it happened, and I put it out there and it happened. So just know that there's so much power in the things we're telling you guys to do. We don't just say things for you guys to just like hear it and think like, oh, you know, that's great. Like take it and run with it and apply it to your life, because we're all different, but we've all been through life. So we went over a little bit, and that's totally fine. Tonight was so amazing. I just want to ask really quickly if anyone has questions, put them in the chat really quick. I'm only going to like give it a minute, and then after that, we're going to hop off. And I'll post the recording, or I'll give the recording to everyone, and they can post it for themselves, for their teams. But I don't think that we have questions. Maybe we do. I'll give it 30 more seconds, you guys, if you do have questions. But tonight was so great. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful you guys hopped on. Okay, great. Doesn't look like questions. I'm going to go ahead and start.